In the heart of downtown Gaffney, this building has stood on the corner of Limestone and Frederick Streets for over a century. It's currently the home of the Cherokee Chronicle, a local newspaper whose pages have been filled with stories about tragedies and personal milestones for decades. But within the very walls of the building in which these accounts are first put to paper is another story, which is yet to make the headlines. Staff members say a spirit haunts this building.
You can come up here by yourself sometimes and doors are closing and windows are raised, and I think it's just the old building, but I think people mostly just inherently like a good ghost story or legend.
Is this ghost story true? Cherokee Chronicle editor Tommy Martin says he has photographic proof.
2 or 3 frames before this were clear, and the front, we were just trying out the camera. And then these frames were clear, and then this was in the middle. Now you tell me what it is.
Holy hell. Whoa, right here.
Oh yeah.
Right there. Oh.
Yeah.
Right here, you feel that?
Big time. I've got goosebumps all over right here.
And our cameras were rolling when paranormal investigators say something supernatural was trying to send us a message.
Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on with this light, but it's kind of flipping out, and it's kind of making me flip out. Oh my God.
That does look like it, doesn't
I
it?
think it is.
That is exactly what Morse code is.
The building currently occupied by the Cherokee Chronicle was first built in 1903 and first served the town as a pharmacy.
Not too long after that, it was renovated into a bank, and there's been several kinds of banks over the years. Up until the 80s, I guess, it served as a bank.
Ancient vaults where millions of dollars were once stored still remain. There are reportedly some hidden vaults that were never found when the bank closed. What could be locked inside remains a mystery. But are the hallways and walls of this building harboring paranormal secrets as well? Tommy Martin says the old bank has been home to the Chronicle for the past 25 years. He says it feels great working in a historic building, but admits some creepy things have happened to him and his staff.
It's just a great old building, but you can come up here. Sometimes it's more active than other times. You can come up here and won't hear hardly anything except the traffic going by. Other times doors are closed and people will be walking. I'll be sitting in here working, and I can hear enough sounds and doors that I'll holler to see if somebody's come in the building. And everybody that works up there, the ladies who work here are real crazy about even being in here day or night by themselves, and none of them will go in the basement for some reason.
Tommy says the 3rd floor is where he's witnessed the most activity. The space seems almost inviting at first glance. Tommy says information about the 3rd floor has been hard to come by, but he says the space has had a storied past.
It's been a dentist's office, it's been a doctor's office, it's been so many things over the years since 1903. It's really actually kind of hard to trace it back. I've done the best I could since I've had the building.
Tommy's only recently discovered that the 3rd floor of the Chronicle building was rented out as living space for several decades.
Years ago, it was an apartment. So I assume people were born there and died there.
He says he's come across one man whose family lived in the apartment at the time of his birth. But the only deaths Tommy knows of have happened elsewhere in the building.
There's been 2 people that I know of that have died in this building. A banker supposedly back in the 20s or 30s during the Depression era. And I think that was a suicide. And then a young boy, 18, who was working on the roof in the 80s, fell and was killed.
Tommy says a small part of him believes that teenager who died tragically may have never left the Chronicle building.
It's there is, I feel like, some presence here. I don't know who it is. I think kind of it may be the young boy, the 18-year-old, who just died surely by accident.
Tommy has heard footsteps when he's working alone, seen unexplainable shadows cross in front of his office door, and believes some unseen force has even played with his office computer.
I have come in my office here, and the computer was working itself. The mouse was going from here to here, and it was calling up sites. And just so I could prove I wasn't crazy, this was during the daytime. I called, our computer guy wasn't working. I called him over, and we stood there and watched that computer operate itself for like 5 or 10 minutes, or probably a good 5 minutes. And then the mouse went up and X'd it out. And I asked him, I said, what could possibly be doing that? And he said, I don't have a clue what's doing that. But I don't remember right exactly what the sites were, but the things he were visiting on the computer were kind of youthful stuff. And I've always kind of felt maybe it was that young guy, but I don't know.
But the most compelling evidence Tommy has seen was in a photo he snapped when testing out a new camera years back.
It was a series of photographs that were taken instantaneously, and in like the middle one, when we got them developed, there was a presence there. This was in the middle. Now you tell me what it is. I had never seen anything like it. It was orange and red and yellow, and it was in basically the shape of a human. It wasn't a definitive head or anything, but it was a vertical figure.
Tommy has been a professional photographer since the 1960s and says he's seen many aberrations in pictures that he's taken over the years. He's learned to identify those things easily, but says the image captured in this photo is something he just can't explain.
But it was very definitive. I mean, there was no doubt that it was there. It wasn't a reflection or anything. There was something there. I'm sure there's a good explanation for it, but I know what we gave the explanation was that, he walked by to get his picture in the paper. So.
Tommy admits some of the activity he's witnessed in the building might be explained naturally.
A building this size, it's 3 stories, and it's built that long ago. I know it compresses and expands, and it cools off at night, and you get the natural pops and creaks, and then you got the noises downstairs and the traffic going by. But I think most everybody that has ever worked here, I think everybody that's ever worked here, which is a substantial number of people, because we've been here 25 years almost, feel like there is a presence here.
It started with footsteps upstairs. We all hear this, especially if you're here by yourself. I don't come here by myself anymore.
Cherokee Chronicle worker Bobby Brennan says she has seen some terrifying things in the 20 years she's worked here. She says Chronicle staffers have witnessed dozens of unexplainable events in the old building. She says they jokingly attributed the strange happenings to a spirit they called Virgil. All jokes aside, Bobby says Virgil did something one night years ago that made her a believer.
I was upstairs working, and I started leaving to go home. It was, 9 o'clock at night, something like that. I started coming down the steps, and I could hear the feet behind me. And we call the ghost Virgil. We don't know what the ghost's name is, if there's just one ghost, more than one ghost. But I told him, I said, Virgil, just back off. I'm going home. You're about to have the place yourself again. So it seemed like the faster I walked, the faster he walked. So we were basically running down the steps by the time I got to the bottom, and the hair on the back of my neck was just standing up. I got out that back door, and I swore if I got out that back door, I would never be up here at night again by myself, and I haven't been. Now, if somebody else is here, that's fine, but I won't come in here by myself at night.
Bobby says Virgil is most active at night, but says he's also made his presence known in the middle of the day.
We had a red cookie tin that, of Quill Office Products had sent us. And it was sitting between you and I on that printer. And Ann, another lady that works here in the office, she was standing behind us at the copier, and we were just all sitting here kind of chit-chatting. All of a sudden, this red cookie tin that's sitting where that newspaper you see now just flies off the top of it, hits the back wall over here, spins around on the floor a couple times, and then lands. Actually, the cookie tin had been in Ann's office, and it kept falling off the shelf. Well, so she thought, until she moved it out here, and then we realized it wasn't falling off the shelf. The same thing with this mirror that sits between us. It came flying out of the pen holder one day. Same scenario, hit the wall. It's got a nice little crack in it now, so either he got 7 years of bad luck or we got some added on to us, one of the two.
Bobby says she's come in to find candles burning in parts of the building when no one had been around to light them. Remember that photo of the mysterious orange glow? Bobby says it often disappears from the office bulletin board and is later found elsewhere in the building. It's now a few minutes past midnight, and the Chronicle building is locked up tight. If the stories we've heard are true, it's Virgil's playtime. Paranormal investigators from the Two Dead crew arrive to see what they can find inside. They've been given hardly any information about the alleged haunting. They know nothing about Tommy's photo evidence, or that the staff believes a spirit named Virgil resides within. Everything they encounter in the ghost hunt you're about to see is real. Nothing was staged, and no footage has been altered. As soon as the investigation begins, Shayna begins hearing strange sounds.
There was a door with a sign over it that said keep out. So naturally I opened the door. And when I stuck my head in, I heard two kids laughing and playing upstairs.
But instead of going upstairs right away, they started their investigation in the newsroom, the heart of the Cherokee Chronicle's operation.
The first time we did walk through, you got a pretty good couple of orders. I remember one of them was
on your leg.
Yeah, and it was pretty huge. It was orange.
Take a closer look. A strange orange light appears in a photo, similar in color to that photo Tommy Martin showed us earlier. A photo Chris and Shayna don't even know about.
We got some good orb pictures in that main level upstairs. And I think everybody was seeing some shadows down the hallway.
Yeah. By the door that led up
to the keep out door.
Ghost hunters and members of the crew begin feeling changes in the atmosphere around them.
I told you that's where he was.
Holy I'm goosebumped.
I told you. Oh, yeah.
Goosebumped up.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Okay. You can. Oh man.
I just felt a cold breeze just come right over my hand.
Okay.
Past me here to the
There were some cold chills, especially right on the couch. I got a shot of the couch and got a teeny little orb actually sitting on the couch cushion.
Was there a ghost on the couch when she snapped this picture? Another ghost hunter joining us thinks we'd been in the presence of ghosts that had fled upstairs.
Whoever we're speaking with right now, I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman yet because I can't get a clear focus on what sex the person is we're trying to speak with. But they were right here. I do believe they're afraid of us, however. They're not sure why we're here. And they're curious, but they're not sure why we're here. And this seems to be the area where they're focusing on, checking us out. And they just went up those stairs.
Things were starting to get exciting, and the crew decided to split up.
We're going to the upstairs of the Cherokee Chronicle to do an EVP session.
While Shayna and our camera crew went upstairs, the other members of the Two Dead crew headed into the basement.
This is Shayna. I'm in the third floor of the Cherokee Chronicle, starting EVP session number 2 upstairs. I came up here, there was a really creepy vibe. Is there anyone up here with us that wants to talk to us? Well, initially we did an EVP session in the front part of that studio, and I thought the door on the back wall was a closet. I had no idea that humongous room was in there. But we heard some tapping, I believe. I'll play with you if you want to come play with me. Just thought I heard something. And you said I just scratched my belt, and I asked you to do it again, and you did it again, and we didn't pick up the same noise. So we definitely got something there. What is that? There's a noise coming in from the outside. Not sure what it is, but... My name is Shayna. Can you tell me your name? Then we moved into the big room.
The vacant loft, where Tommy Martin says unexplainable rumblings can be heard during all hours of the day, and especially at night.
Things got a little crazy. At this point, Chris was downstairs in the basement.
Shayna starts with what she calls a flashlight test.
I take a mini mag light. I twist it to the point where it doesn't take very much for it to come on. I set it on a flat surface, remove my hands, step away from that surface, and just hold still and start asking questions.
Supposedly the spirit can connect the circuit and cause the flashlight to come on or turn off on request.
It's a way of communicating. If you touch the flashlight, you can make it come on. It's like magic. Well, thank you. See, that was pretty easy, wasn't it? Can you tell me? I'm like goosebumps. I started asking questions. Are you here with me? Is there anyone here? If you come over and touch this flashlight on the table, you can make it turn on. And lo and behold, it started turning on. It would never turn off. I would turn it off, set it up again, step away, would ask questions, it would come on. That was awesome. That was, well, you got turning it on down. Try to turn it off for me. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Do you like it when the light is on?
As you can see, Shayna's hands are nowhere near the flashlight. The only other person in the room is Haunted Echoes producer Rob Baker, who remains as still as possible as he operates our night vision camera.
I'm not touching the table. I'm nowhere near it. Well, I'm near it, but I'm not touching it. So I'm going to turn this off again since you are having trouble turning it off. Okay, it's off. Hands free. Just to make sure I know that there is actually somebody communicating with us. If you'll be so kind as to turn that on one last time for me. And I'll leave it on this time. I won't mess with it because I think you like it when the light is on. Don't forget, right next to the flashlight is a little recorder. If you speak into it, I will be able to hear you.
Shayna says a faint orange glow began appearing to her in the room.
I'm getting a little orange light over here. Is that you? And at one point, out of the corner of my eye, I physically saw a little orange orb. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for showing me yourself. I do like the color orange.
Orange, like the color of the orb appearing to be following Chris in the earlier photo, and like the photo Tommy Martin snapped years ago. A photo that Shayna didn't know existed at this point in time.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
That was a child's voice. Can you tell me your name? And then I heard with my ear a disembodied child's voice. And Rob added a colorful explanation of what he was feeling. Rob said, "I'm freaking out." And I said, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" I think it was a child. I heard almost like a child laughing, and then we were fortunate enough to catch that on EVP.
Now, being the skeptic that I am, I had to see this light trick for myself, just to make sure that motion elsewhere in this old building wasn't jarring this flashlight into action. And let's just say Virgil, or whatever was acting on the light in the room, didn't disappoint me.
Well, thank you for coming and talking to us.
No one was moving. No one was moving.
No one was moving.
Thanks for communicating with us. We'll leave you alone now. Do you want us to go? If you want us to go, shut that off.
Was it proof positive of a haunting? We weren't ready to believe that just yet, without some input from the other 2 dead crew members. We called them up to the loft.
And right away, something unexpected happened as Angel sat down at the table with the flashlight.
Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on with this light, but it's kind of flipping out, and it's kind of making me flip out. Can you tell me what your name is?
That is exactly what Morse code is.
I don't know Morse code, so can you tell me what you're saying?
That's SOS.
And a different person came up to try to do it, and the flashlight started doing a SOS Morse code.
And it kept doing it over and over again. Are you watching?
Is that the flashlight?
Dude, that's SOS. It's going doop, 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 doop.
It sure it is.
That's fucking SOS. Angel turned it on, stuck it in the thing in the pillow, and it started to immediately start doing this. I just looked it up on my phone, and this is indeed the Morse code for SOS.
The letters SOS in Morse code became the emergency distress signal for ships lost at sea in the early 1900s. Most commonly, the 3 letters are believed to be an abbreviation for Save Our Ship, or the more ominous Save Our Souls.
I just thought it was creepy that out of anything that it could have sent an SOS, Morse code, it was an SOS, so I thought that was pretty apropos.
Was there a soul inside the Chronicle building asking to be saved that night? Or was it just a joke from a prankster spirit trapped inside the old structure? Or perhaps simply a malfunction with the equipment?
So we're still trying to find out if that is built into a Maglight's memory or something.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten it to repeat. I've tried. So
There's no telling.
I don't know.
Unexplained.
Shayna and Chris believe we encountered something that night.
Oh, I definitely think there's something going on, especially in that upstairs.
From everything I've seen and heard, I would say that there is definitely some activity there.
The ghost hunters don't believe whatever spirits haunt these halls are malevolent.
I don't get a malevolent feeling there.
If there was anything evil about it, I figured he'd have got us a long time ago, so I don't worry too much about it.
Tommy Martin says he and his staff have gotten used to the strange occurrences, and he says if Virgil is really there, then he's welcome to stay.
If there's a ghost here, we're just gonna live with him. We've lived with him 25 years. We figure he's just a member of the family now.
2 months have passed since we conducted the ghost hunt inside the Chronicle building, and we have yet to come up with a natural explanation for what we encountered on that hot and humid night. The 2 dead crew says the evidence is clear. Shayna is certain it was a child's spirit.
I got a child right immediately when I got there and went into the keep out room. It was child. I felt it, I heard it at least twice, and then actually captured it on EVP, which sealed the deal for me.
I know Shayna's probably a lot more sensitive to this stuff than I am. And from the evidence we caught and her feelings, I would say that there's definitely, you know, if not a child, there's definitely something there. But if you say it's a child, I'd agree with you.
The Chronicle workers concur. What they have experienced might just be child's play.
Now, but there again too, throwing things in the floor and that kind of thing could be, you know, this is an old building. We're right next to the railroad tracks. There's, you know, a lot of people have lived and died in this area, so could be a lot of different people or a lot of different things. Whatever he, she, child is, they've never really did anything to bother anybody, you know, as far as anything harmful or Outside of that incident on the stairs, I've never really felt afraid to be here. It gets a little too creepy, and like I said, some of that could be over anxiety on my part, but you just get that feeling there's somebody in the room with you.
Tommy Martin says he takes some comfort knowing a young spirit is there in the building. He says it almost feels like having another child to look after, since his kids are all grown now.
Actually, it's kind of a comfort to me. It's having had 2 boys and feeling like that's a young person. I have 2 boys and a girl. If you feel like it's kind of like you've become friends or family, and yeah, it does. It does. Whatever it is was still restless, and is still restless, and we don't mind it. I mean, most of us enjoy it, can put up with it, and speak to it, talk to it. If we hear something, we just talk back to it.
Perhaps one day Virgil's story will be told. If the old building ever wishes to give up its secrets, Tommy says he's waiting with an open ear and a pen at the ready.
I think people mostly just inherently like a good ghost story or legend, I mean, that's part of who we are, and we're inquisitive and we want to know about everything, and sure, I like them too.